And welcome back to episode 14. Yeah, I am your co-host, Skye Riley, joined by the always lovely Skye McMillian. Skye, say what's up to the people.
I hope you guys are having a good day just like we are. We are joined with a very special guest. He was named 2021 Mountain West Freshman of the Year, was 3-time champion at the French Golf Federation Tour, and was named twice to All Mountain West first team, and also an All-American scholar. We welcome Bastien Amat. So I'm going to start off with our icebreaker question, which we usually always do. So would you rather be invisible or able to read minds?
I think I would definitely like to read minds better.
Yeah.
Especially in the sporting context, because I feel like I would want to know what my opponents think when I'm playing with them or against them. So I think reading minds would be really cool. Yeah.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Very smart. Sai, what would you pick?
That's a great answer right there. I probably do the same thing, read minds, but more so for relationships, because sometimes I don't know what my mom is thinking when she decides to make a left instead of making a right, or when my dad is out and about and doing his little daily thing. So I probably do be able to read minds. What about you, Skye?
I would have to agree. I think reading minds would be super cool. I don't know. Being invisible is also super cool, but I would have to agree with you guys and say reading minds.
Yeah, I like reading minds.
Our second question, what is it like coming from France, and what are some of the things that you miss from home?
I think obviously every time that I talk to somebody, they always mention food. I think food is the main thing that I miss, especially when it's my mom cooking for me.
Yeah.
That's definitely a big plus about being back home. I miss the culture in general, but yeah, mostly the food, and I like the cities in general. I think it's really walkable, which is something I like, instead of using cars all the time here. But yeah, definitely just food and culture. Yeah.
You said your mom cooks for you. What are some of your favorite dishes that she cooks?
I'd say one of my favorite dish that she cooks is probably, I think they call it Beef Wellington here. So it's like beef that you do in the oven, and you put a crust on top of it, like around it, sort of.
Yeah.
And you put mustard, and this thing is just absolutely delicious. So I ask one every time I go home. For every break that I go home, that's the first thing I ask.
Yeah.
I'm just really excited every time for that. And then we make homemade bolognese spaghetti as well. That's really good. And cheese. I like cheese a lot.
Really?
Well. Yeah.
Okay. Fun fact, I don't actually like cheese at all. I think if it's too much, I'm just going to take it off of my meal that I have. But I have to try that Beef Wellington. Is that what you said?
Yeah. I think they do it here too, but it's not very common because usually you eat it when the meat is still red.
Okay.
And I'm somebody that eats not raw, but pretty red meat. It's still bleeding a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's a cultural shock for everybody. Even when we go to restaurants here, I always ask for rare, and everybody's like, what?
Yes, because I'm asking for well done, or I don't know.
Well done is the way to go. But but I've watched a lot of cooking shows, and man, I hear Gordon Ramsay has the best Beef Wellington. That's his go-to dish that nobody can replicate or create. So that's interesting that you said that.
My mom would probably beat him, but it's all
right. Okay, Mama versus Gordon Ramsay in the kitchen. Okay,
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that.
Hey, we can Science Skye. We could do it right there live.
Yeah.
Be live. We saw that you like Star Wars. What is your favorite movie out of the 12, and why?
That's a very complicated questions because they're all pretty good. I think iconically for me, it's probably the number one. I've probably watched that one between 10 and 15 times in my life.
Wow.
I used to watch it a lot with my parents. Whenever I was bored, I would just put number one and watch that one. But I really, really like the very last one they did.
Mm-hmm.
Because they used an old story and just made a new one with a new character, or with two new characters. And I just really like the CGI a lot. Like it all looks like perfect.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about good movies, in my opinion. I just really like the graphics. So yeah, I think it's between the number one and the last one for sure.
I think we are getting so good with the graphics now, especially like in FIFA and like in video games. It looks so real now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's cool to see.
Yeah, I can't wait to see my boy JT in that game, and Paris Dalton,
Yep.
she FIFA and JT and 2K. But that's surprising you said number one, because for me growing up, all I remember from Star Wars, I just had to rewatch it maybe last year. All I remember growing up was Darth Maul and his fight. And I think it was Luke Skywalker, and his hands got cut off, fingers got cut off, and he fell into the eternal void and ended up dying. Like that's all I remember from Star Wars growing up.
Yeah, that scene was important in that movie for sure. It was really cool. Yeah.
I don't know anything about Star Wars, but I did see that you liked watching it, so I had to ask.
Yeah, I literally bought Disney Plus just to rewatch them
Really?
all. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dang. Going to your play a little bit, you won some tournaments in France, 3-time champion of the French Golf Federation Tour, and played in a major championship, I think it was the Bermuda. Do you see a difference in how the sport is played here compared to internationally?
Yeah, absolutely. So especially for golf, you guys in the United States have a huge culture of golf. We're not that advanced towards golf in France. The courses are really different. It's smaller. It's a bit more tricky. There's a bit more turns, and you have to play a little bit more strategic. And then when you come in the US, mostly it's just a bit more of hitting it good, hitting it far. The courses are long. So yeah, that is one of the biggest differences, I say. And then obviously it's also a level difference, because that was back when I was in junior golf. So, it's not the same type. Like I was smaller, I was not hitting it as far, and you don't play with the same advantages. So it's definitely different.
You said in France that it wasn't as popular as a sport or how it is here in the US.
Yes.
How did you get into golf then? How did you know you wanted to play that?
The absolute main reason is just because my dad is a golf instructor.
Oh,
so that is why I became a golf player. I've played since I was 1.5 years old. So I literally started to walk, and then like my parents took me to the golf course, and I started to walk. So I wasn't like perfect on my balance. So my mom had to like sort of like hold me so that I could swing and not fall. But yeah, I started when I was 1.5 years old. My dad was golf instructor for a while. He turned professional when he was 18 years old.
Wow.
And now he's about 55. So it's been a while. And then my grandpa was also into golf. So it's just like a family kind of thing. Yeah.
How long did he play professionally?
He didn't play that much. He played from like 18 years old to about 20. He played for like two to 4 years.
Okay.
But mostly he was a golf instructor. Because he didn't play, unfortunately, good enough to be on any tour and making any money. So he had to, become a golf instructor. But he's been doing that for a very long time now. Wow. So yeah, experience.
That is pretty cool.
So yeah, that's why I play golf. Yeah.
That's cool.
No, I remember being in middle school, and everybody knew Tiger was the consensus best golfer of all time, and then a kid named Jordan Spieth ended up winning the Masters 2015, and like that changed my. I wasn't even into golf, then, and then he won, and he was all we could ever talk about. He kind of sort of became our hero for us to root behind. What about the sport, or what golfers inspire you and motivate you in your play?
Tiger, obviously, he's been like one of the biggest competitors of all time in golf. I think he's one of the best athletes in the world in general, not even just golf. He's broken so many records that have no chance of being broken again. I saw a post today that the current number one in the world is Scottie Scheffler. He's a kid that, he's, I don't know, 28 years old or something, but he's a really good golf player, obviously, because he's number one in the world. And he's been for around 75 weeks, I think. And going at this rate, he would have to stay until October of 2035 as
Yeah.
a number one ranking to break the record of Tiger. Like it's
Wow.
just the domination of Tiger is just absolutely insane. So he's definitely the greatest of all time. The only one that can be close is Jack Nicklaus, probably. But as for my idol, I would say I'm really, really inspired by Victor Perez. So he's a French golf player that came to UNM. Actually, he's an alumni, and he plays on tour now. So he's playing this week at the Phoenix Open that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And he came here last week. He was here for a couple days. So for me, it's just been a really big inspiration, just because, it's just like the connection I have with this guy, being French, having been in the US for college, and especially in the same university with the same coach at the time. Now we changed this year, but for my 3 first years, we had the same coach. So it's just very, very encouraging to know that somebody took the same route as me and made it there. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And I saw that you were ranked 68th in the world amateurly for golf. Who do you credit your success to? I know you're probably going to say your dad just because he's done so much.
Obviously, this has been a great accomplishment to even get to this point. Obviously, I want to go to the top and hopefully finish top 20 or whatever. But as far as why I became that good, mostly because of my dad, obviously. But the thing I'm really grateful about my dad is that he never pushed me too hard to become a golf player. I had my time where I played a lot of sports. I played basketball, I played soccer, I played karate. I played something else, I don't remember. But anyway, I was like a big sports guy, and he never forced me to only do golf or do golf six hours a day or whatever. So that was a great advantage because it kept me motivated by myself. I didn't have to do something for somebody. So I'm really grateful that he let me be, and just my parents in general as well, because they had to, support me a lot. We don't have what you guys have here in the US as far as high school golf. So you just do it on your own. So if your parents don't want to take you to tournaments, you're not going, basically. And so that's why I'm really grateful for my parents, because my mom took the time, to take me to tournaments every so often and play good tournaments, sometimes far, sometimes taking the plane, and definitely without that, I wouldn't be here. So, yeah.
I think that's so important. I feel like a lot of the times that we see parents putting too much pressure on kids with one sport, they need to train every single day a week, like just put too much onto it. And I feel like you will lose a love for a game if you're just pressured to do too much of that sport at once. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of professional players talk about it now. Like they started doing like those kind of formats, podcasts with psychologists and whatever. And they're saying, look, like I've been playing so good. So then I just wanted to play more and more and more to make more money, to play well, to whatever. And then at some point they just burn out and they're like, I got to stop because it's like, I don't even want to go anymore.
Yeah.
And once they stop, they take their time, and then, it comes back. So, yeah, definitely that was a great part. And obviously, the coaching staff at UNM as well, I forgot to mention, but without them, I wouldn't be here, obviously. So, yeah, really grateful for that.
No, I think support goes so far in golf. My little cousin plays golf, and he's been playing since he was a little boy. And my aunt's always same thing, going to the golf course and playing for balls and for different rounds. And obviously he's grown up now, he's in high school, and playing different tournaments and things like that. Like the whole financial aspect of it. Same thing in our last podcast, Arda talked about when it comes to playing tennis tournaments, you have to pay out of pocket expenses just to get your name out the door. So that's really interesting that you spoke a little bit about that. But I do want to ask, because it's a little bit different from college. I know when you're playing by yourself, you're only worried about yourself, but also in college you guys play as a team. So what is it like when you're on the course, you're in your one-on-one battles, but you also know at the end of the day, like you have other guys around you on your team that are also playing in different courses, different matches, and you guys are trying to win collectively. Like, how do you support each other when you're playing, team golf, but also individually? How do you stay locked in?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting point to raise here because golf is a bit like tennis that you talk about, mainly an individual sport. So when you come to college and all of a sudden you have to defend the colors of a team, it's definitely a different aspect. And the one thing that we don't have that tennis has that's really good for supporting each other is that tennis, they play next pretty close to each other. So they can, like, for example, yell at each other and say, like, come on, let's go. Like, they can encourage each other. For us on the golf course, we're way more spread out. We barely see each other like for a whole round or whatever. So it's more of just having that knowledge that you're defending the team, that if you play bad, you have to, grind to get back to support the team. It's not only for yourself, but it's also for the team. And I think it's also great because it just brings like a different perspective that you don't have if you play just individual golf. Because once again, when you're alone, like you travel by yourself, you pay for your things. So like technically, if you want to be ungrateful of having those opportunities, you can just like be mad and like kind of give up on your round. But now it's like somebody like gives you a scholarship and they take care of all your trips and of all your clubs and whatever. So now you kind of have to like respect that program and do everything you can to like support that. And by supporting that, by playing well and acting well. So obviously it helps because you can also realize that when you do that for the team, it also helps you individually. And so then it's like a very good way to understand that you're going to have to do that when you're going to be professionally playing only for yourself.
I know you received quite a bit of awards. You're ranked. What are some of your goals for this upcoming year?
As far as ranking, we were talking about how I was 68. So obviously one of my main goals is to go inside the top 50 and most likely to go top 20. Obviously I want to, aim for challenging things. But also there is a university ranking that ranks all the seniors all together. So it's really only about the class of 2024 for this year, which I am in. And as of right now, I'm 46, I believe.
Wow.
And so the point for me is to get into the top 25 of that. Because if I get into top 25, I get exemption for full status for a tour starting in June. So it's a big way for me to be able to have a good transition from college to professional life and stay in the US as well, because that would be in Canada. So
okay.
Like it's Canada and plays a little bit in the US as well. So
yeah. Well, Canada's beautiful. You're going to that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. Exciting.
What are the training regimens like for the sport? Because, you hear old guys like Tiger and Phil Mickelson, they'll talk about the grind it is just to walk, at 18 holes. Like, what is the training regimen for, college golfers like yourself?
So obviously we do work out like any other team. We do 3 times a week. So we'll do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning, pretty early, 6:30. And we'll do a whole bunch of things, but mostly lower body because it's really important, as you said, for walking. You have to, we'll play some tournaments. For example, the first tournament we played, which was about a week and a half ago in Arizona, you'll have those where you play 36 holes the first day and 18 the second day. So you play 2 rounds of golf and you literally walk with a 20-pound bag or whatever. I don't know how heavy it is, but it's probably around 20 or something pounds on your bag, on your back, sorry. And you just have to walk like 36 holes, which is, I don't know how many miles, but it's a lot. It's during the whole day.
Wow.
You walk from like 8 a.m. to, 6 p.m.
Wow.
with that thing on
I
your
was
back.
just going to ask you, have you ever tracked that before? You've never tracked that like on a watch or anything to see how many miles you've walked?
So I've tracked it on the phone because the phone does it like automatically,
Yes.
obviously. As far as watches, I don't wear watches during games because it's a little bit uncomfortable for golf. But I know some people do it and they have the Whoop now. They call it the Whoop. It's like a little elastic band that has like a little like sensor. Okay. And you can either wear it on your wrist. So a lot of guys wear it on the wrist. But it's a bit more comfortable than an actual watch because it's like very flexible. It's elastic. And they also have one that you can wear there. But I don't have those, and I just know I walk a lot, and that's enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to have the exact thing, but from memory, it's about, like one round is going to be about 8 kilometers. I work in kilometers because I'm from France. So it's about 5 miles.
Okay.
So if you do 2 rounds, it's 10 miles basically. But you carry the thing, you're mentally tired because you're competing, you're not just walking.
Yeah.
So
wow.
It's definitely hard. And as far as golf practices as well, we practice every day. We sometimes take like Sunday off because it's a lot. But it's mainly you'll do about like 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours, sometimes more, but usually it's about 3 to 4 hours. So yeah, it's a lot of things. It's like a job, you work a lot for golf. Yeah.
Wow. I did not know that. That is really cool to hear. I never knew that.
No, I didn't understand, the training aspect, but shoot, if you're wearing the 20, because I don't see you guys, as bench pressers or like I'm saying like a lot of upper body strength, but you guys, you just said you walk around 36 holes with a 20-pound vest. That's just crazy.
Yeah. No, as I said, like mostly we just do lower body. Like we'll do Bulgarian squats a lot, regular squats as well, and we did deadlift yesterday, for example. Like this is the kind of exercise we do most. We'll do like a little bit of like bench press, a little bit for upper body because you still need it, but it's not, the main thing is about lower body and having a good balance and, be really well printed in the ground, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, what type of approach do you use on the course? Are you a power guy like a Bryson DeChambeau? Are you a type of guy that takes aggressive swings at times and then, relies on his putting game like Brooks Koepka? Like, what constitutes a Bastien round?
So obviously, very good point because many people play it different ways. I am more of a long game guy. My shots are really accurate and consistent, so I can rely on that to hit it a bit more aggressively and hit it closer to the pin. And then whenever it gets shorter game, that's where I personally struggle a bit more. So I just take advantage of whatever I'm good at. So in my case, it's just long game. And then whenever the putting is going well, then that's when I have low rounds. Like, for example, last week when we played in Arizona and everything went pretty well. So it goes low. Yeah.
Oh, last week we had Arda. You know him, our men's player of the year. What differences he saw between college and international competitions? And he saw a huge discrepancy between the both. What about you? How does the sport change?
Between college and normal?
Yes.
And just individual?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that most of the difference is in the organization, the whole like logistic part of the actual tournament. Because obviously when you're in college, it's like tennis, I'm assuming, but they, as I said, like the team like takes care of everything. They book the trip for you. They book the hotel. You don't pay anything. You don't even have to worry about booking the flight. Like you just go. You just hop on the plane and play. That's all you do. So obviously it's really easy mentally. You don't really have to think too much. You do a lot because it's with the team, so it's tiring, but it's pretty easy life. Like we just do whatever. And then when you transition individually, then you have to book your flight. You have to pay for it. You have to realize that. If you play bad, it's bad for yourself, and you have to have that self-reflection of saying like, oh, what am I doing? Like, this is affecting me bad or negatively or positively. Mm-hmm. And that's what's a bit hard for a lot of people when they turn from college to professional, is that they are waiting for somebody to tell them that it's not good instead of just self-reflecting that what they're doing is bad, and so they can change it quick enough, So I'd say that's the main differences. And then I heard Arda saying that, in tennis they can play professional tournaments and get prize money. Mm-hmm. We can't do that in golf. We can play professional tournaments. So as you mentioned, I played the US Open this year and the Barracuda, which is a PGA Tour event. And so when you play those as an amateur, you can get in, you can play with the other guys just like normal, but you're not allowed to receive the money compensation. That's only when you turn pro. And unfortunately, you cannot be a professional under NCAA rules. So you just have to kind of like play and find your own way to make your money to pay for the trip, because you're not going to get it back even if you play well. So yeah, this is definitely the biggest difference.
Interesting. What was it like to qualify for the 2023 US Open and make the PGA Tour debut at the Barracuda Championship?
As a golf player that watched like so many events, that had so much inspiration from a lot of players, playing a major, it's a dream that I think a lot of athletes have. You know, I'm sure that for football guys, playing Super Bowl is, you know, it's kind of like their US Open. For tennis, US Open is the same thing. So they definitely understand what I'm talking about. But, you know, it's always been a dream. And I just said, like, look, I have a chance of like trying to qualify. Let's give it a chance and we'll see. And I ended up playing good enough to qualify. And then, yeah, I just showed up there and it was just like amazing week. It was in LA. It was really cool. Lots of very new experiences. You know, you get there, you have your courtesy car, you know, you get your Lexus, you're all like, you know, just all of a sudden you become like, wow, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you see all those like stands, like you used to just play golf like with nobody watching. And then all of a sudden you have stands on like every hole and you're like, is that like 5,000 people right there like looking at me? Like, I'm just a guy from France. Like you guys,
Yeah.
you know. So definitely that was really cool experience. So the US Open was before the Barracuda. That was in like mid-June. And Barracuda was in July. And I think that was a great experience to have the US Open before the Barracuda because it was such a shock of like discovering so many things of professional that when I went to the Barracuda, there was like a obviously smaller event. You know, you don't have all those like tents, stands with so many people. The organization is not, I mean, it's still like good, you know, you get like food, whatever, but it's not to the point of that. And so then you get less stress because also the context was different. I planned that since October, basically, of the year before. So it was like planned for a while. And the US Open, I discovered it the week before that I was going. So it's like, you were just going to go back to France and all of a sudden you're playing a major in LA. It's like, what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely I would say the fact that I planned for it helped me and I actually made the cut there. So really cool thing, really good experience overall.
Makes you want to go back again. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't want to keep playing amateur tournaments anymore. Yeah, just PGA Tour.
What was your tee time for the US Open? Because I know, you know, they have the bigger stars kind of go midday, later day. Like, were you around the guys like after they finished? Like, what was your tee time?
So in golf, usually they'll separate it in two waves. So there's the morning wave and the afternoon wave. So that means that you tee off 1 and 10 for about 2.5 hours. Then they cut the tee off until until like 2 p.m. And then they start a new wave when everybody's out the course and they start again 1 to 10. And so I was at the end of the wave the first day. So I was around like 10 a.m. The first round. And then around 4 p.m. the last round. It was pretty late, but it's summer days. So, you know, days are really long. I obviously saw a lot of good guys. It's a major championship. Like everybody is pretty big time. You don't really see anybody that's not supposed to be there, you know? So yeah, I hung out with McIlroy, with Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson as well. So Brooks Koepka, I saw it was mentioned in the paper. So yeah, it was really cool. It was on the driving range, obviously not on the course, but I went in between them because I just wanted to, you know, have fun.
Yeah.
It's something that I might potentially not have the chance to do again. So I just like hid in between them. So I was in between Dustin, Brooks, and Phil, which are three guys that like, if you talk to anybody that plays golf, they know.
Yeah.
And it's really cool that I got to experience that. And yeah, and then when you're a player, you actually get to stay, even if you miss the cut. So then I missed the cut. So the weekend I got to stay as a spectator. But I'm a player, so I got the pass to go everywhere.
Oh, yes.
And so I still went to practice because I wanted to practice at the same time as the guys that were going to tee off. So I was talking about Scotty Scheffler earlier. So I practiced a little bit with him. Not with him, obviously he's in tournament. I don't want to bother him, but next to him just to see how he was doing things. Great experience. And then the last day, I practiced in the morning and then I went to see the 9 final holes of Rory and Scotty that were playing together, which was in the second last group. So just really big time for a major. And again, since I have the pass, I can be inside the ropes So I don't have to be in the stands
Oh.
with everybody. I can literally be like, they were right there. And it was just a really cool
Wow.
experience. Yeah.
Did they give you like any tips for the future?
So I was mentioning Victor earlier. So he
Yes.
was at that tournament. So I got to talk with him a little bit in the locker room, and definitely, yeah, he gave me a couple tips. So it was really cool and get to see the perspective of people that have done it, and especially him that again has done it in a similar way as I'm trying to do it. Scotty, I just asked him for an autograph, to be honest. I wasn't really trying to bother him.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
If you go back to 2022, 2023, Live Golf and PGA had a huge clash. You know, obviously the Saudi Arabian-backed league started paying millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to try and poach these PGA tour guys away into their league. And rightfully so, because PGA had a monopoly over, you know, the sport of golf.
Yeah.
And then, you know, big old clash between loyalty and financial success. You had guys like Tiger speaking out, you know, and then ultimately they ended up merging. What was your reaction to how everything played out? Were you more pro PGA or pro Live?
Obviously, this is a sort of like complicated questions because there's so many pros and cons of both. I think if I was purely a spectator, I would be totally against Live because I hate that they took some great players away and that it kind of like the fields are not as good as they were. You know, you're seeing the tours, and when you see tournaments on PGA now, it's still, I mean, everybody's still good. But, you know, you see John Rahm that went there, Phil Mickelson, it was just like such a legend to watch. And plenty of other guys that, you know, there's just so many that I don't want to say all of them. But I think as a spectator, I'm a little mad because I wish that I could still watch all of them on the same place instead of having to watch two different competitions. However, as a player, you have to understand that it's also our job. We're trying to make money. And when a company tells you can still play golf, you can still do everything you were doing, but you're getting $600 million, you cannot say no. Like, there's just no way. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's like you're still doing what you like. I guess, I mean, I totally get the fact that it's not PGA Tour and it's not the classic vision of it, but you're still playing golf. You're still doing what you like, and you're just making whatever, how many times more. So
Okay.
I don't know. I just think it purely depends on people. Like a lot of people are a lot of guys on tour now are trying to show loyalty to PGA Tour, which I totally get, honestly. I really like the way PGA Tour works. But it gets to a point if you can make like 10 or even 100 times more on another tour and you still get to play, I just don't really get the point of fighting for it, you know. So I just kind of wish it wasn't about the money, because if it was purely the idea, I would like PGA Tour better, but the money is just so attractive.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Sure is attractive.
And sure is attractive. Yeah. I mean, who would say no? Seriously,
I wouldn't.
You don't even play golf. You would probably say yes to go play for $600
Yeah.
million.
Hey, look, if they said, "Sai, come on, we'll give you 2 just to hit the ball
Yeah,
up the tee. You got to
seriously.
make it go 5 years. Come on, I'm your guy."
Exactly. So
My next question is, where do you see yourself in the next couple of years?
so kind of as I said, my goal right now is to, you know, get in the top 25 of the university ranking.
Yes.
So that I can make my way to PGA Tour or Live if they want to give me money. But mainly PGA Tour. So the road is basically PGA Canada. So the one that I'm aiming for right now is 3rd division of the American circuit, and then it goes Korn Ferry Tour, 2nd division, and then PGA Tour is the 1st division. So my goal is just to go through all of those and make it to the PGA Tour, where I can obviously make a decent amount of money and just do everything that I was dreaming of when I was a kid. So
Wow.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I saw you learning about space and science. Is science one of your favorite subjects? And what are you studying
So
here in school?
I'm actually studying finance. It was mostly, honestly, because of a schedule type of deal. As an athlete, you just, especially for me, I came here to play golf
Yep.
over studies. So I was like, well, if I can do both, great. But in that case, I can't. So I'll just take finance. It's still a great major in my opinion. But yeah, I wish I could have done any kind of science, even engineering. But yeah, I've always been really interested in science. I like discovering about space, as I said. It's just really interesting to think that, like, what's the universe? Like,
Yeah.
because you have to have matter to create something.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did it come from? Because if there's nothing, then what, like, it just makes no sense, you know?
Yeah.
So just trying to understand everything and watch a bunch of videos on YouTube about that sometimes, and it's really, really interesting. I really like that. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
YouTube's a great teacher.
Yeah, they're really good teachers. Yeah.
Bastien, we appreciate you coming on. You know, the more that we need more international athletes, because you guys are all so humble, and you know, it sounds like we all could get along, you know?
Of course we can.
Yeah, so definitely, you know, we'll have to try and get to a tournament, and you could definitely teach me a few things, because shoot, I can't hit a ball off a tee for anything, but if you see me in Wii Sports Resort, I'll go play that Wii golf, and I'm getting birdies. I'm just saying.
You better.
But no, I appreciate you coming on, man. Much continued success, and yeah, we'll always be here to support you and whatever you do, and looking forward to your journey.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we wish you the best of luck this season, and you're going to do great things in the future, and I'm super excited to see that and see where you end up. So thank you so much for joining us on our podcast.
Thank you.
That was Bastien Amat from Men's Golf. I hoped you guys enjoyed that episode just as much as we did. We're super excited for next week's guest, and we can't wait for you guys to hear who is up next week.
Hey, Skye, before we get to next week, there's a big game coming up on Sunday.
There is.
Super Bowl.
Woo woo.
Who are you going for?
This is a hard one, just because I really wished it was the Ravens and the Lions going to the Super Bowl, but we can't always get everything we want. So
That's right.
I'm going to have to go with the 49ers, just because the Chiefs, and they just keep on winning. And we need somebody else to win. I can't.
What do you think the final score is going to be?
I don't know. I think it's going to be a close one, to be honest with you. Like, I think it would be off by 3 points, if that's my guess. What about you?
I'm down to a field goal. Well, personally, I don't like the 49ers. Never have. I'm a Steelers fan.
I get it, because you're LA, so
yeah, LA too. Like,
yeah,
they have too many Super Bowls for me to like them. And they were always too close with the Steelers. They were at 5. I think they're still at 5. Steelers have 6. So, you know, I have to go for the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he's going to do his Patrick Mahomes thing and sidearm his way to 275 yards. Travis Kelce's going to have 2 touchdowns. You know, Pacheco's going to run like a guy that's running away from a robber. Like, it's just,
I just feel like so fast.
I feel like the Chiefs are going to, you know, take this one out, but I could be wrong.
We never know. I also would like to mention that the QB from the 49ers is from Phoenix.
Okay.
So that's also another reason why I am going for the 49ers.
I can't. I just can't get behind the 49ers. Yeah, but I do love defense, and their defense is, I know the Ravens defense was number 1 in the NFL this year, but Fred Warner, Greenlaw, Bosa, Armstead, Chase Young, Ward, Ufanga, like, I just keep going. They're crazy. They're crazy. So, but I hope it's a good game. I see the Chiefs winning this one 27-23.
Okay.
I say 27-23.
I was going to say mine would be in the 20 range. I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game at all, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And well, I guess since you're going for 49ers and I'm going for the Chiefs, one of us got to be right.
Yeah. May the best person win.
May the best person win. Ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode on the Skye podcast with our interview, Bastien Amat. You hear how great of a dude he is. You hear how great of a game this Super Bowl is going to be. and you hear how great the next week's episode is going to be as well. So tune back next week for another special guest, and we can't wait to see you then. Go Lobos!
Go Lobos!